All right, folks, thanks for joining us again on V2VG Video Podcast. On the road again.
Again.
And
I got the clap.
He's got the clap. His clap's better than my clap. So
there's that.
we're traveling to a client's house. We've been there a couple times. Right? Yeah. So she's got. We're working with her to go through some comp and pen. No, not comp and pen. Survivor benefits.
Yeah, she's a widow of a veteran.
Yeah, and it's she's doing an appeal, actually a higher level appeal, because it's there's been some issues with it. It's fucking hot in here, so not low either. Let's see if we can do 66. So we're trying to work out some stuff with the senator's office and things like that, but we got to get a release of information printed and sent in, so we got to go and do it the analog way, and we're gonna go all the way out to Woodsville from Littleton and do it, and that's what we do for our clients. So we're gonna do it again. We did get her stair lift.
Repaired. The battery, I think, needed to be replaced or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And we got to get that bill from her to pay it, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting because we didn't really have a topic to talk about, but this whole thing, it just brought me back to our conversation we had earlier about the individuals we work with that are just patriots, that don't have skin in the game because they're not veterans themselves, but just care. And, this whole situation we got to deal with her is really screwed up. The system absolutely failed her.
I agree.
Their denial was based on him having a full pension, and it was just, it gets me to a point. I wonder
a lack of attention
if they
to
do
detail,
it on
right?
purpose or what the deal is, right? You know?
Well, first his times in service were impossible.
Yes, it was like 2060.
Yeah, it was like, first of all, look, I get it's a clerical error, whatever, but for an organization that prides itself on being, precise and careful, they really screwed up there. But they also messed up on a lot of other things.
Yeah,
it's like,
it was a handful of issues.
They really messed up, and they're treating her wrong, and they're not walking her through the process. And I guess that's where we come through to try to help out. But they really dropped the ball, and she's scared of losing her house and things like that. So we're trying to help out, but it's to the point where we needed to escalate it up to the senator's office with Justin Troiano, Senator Hassan's office.
Yeah.
And they're taking the case because they saw what we put together and said, this isn't right. It's not fair to her.
Yeah.
And if it's not fair to her, it's not fair to other veterans. Who else has the VA, this particular VA office, done this to?
And I'd like to say, it would be great to sit back and say, oh, this first time it's ever happened, but we get a lot of especially with survivor benefits, where they'll either deny it or have some issue based on the pension aspect and not the compensation aspect.
Yeah.
And a lot of these widowers are not versed in how to even handle a lot of this stuff. And then when they can't get someone from the VA to assist with the paperwork, and it leads a lot of people to just give up, and it'll screw things up as far as burial ceremonial stuff, or
a lot of it's a whole cascade of things,
or their livelihood moving forward.
And they think, oh well, I guess I'm not owed it, and it's not true. It's not true, and they give up. And I find, at least anecdotally, that it happens more often with the more senior elderly widows and widowers. When they're in their late 80s, early 90s, they just say, oh, well, the VA knows, so if they say I'm not eligible, I'm not eligible. It's not true. It's not true. And they think that, I put an appeal in, and if that goes away, then it's not true either. There's multiple appeals.
And there's different ways. Obviously, we've kind of learned this through our trial and errors. But it's really just unfortunate, and it's not just the system of the VA, but
no, and the VA is a bureaucracy. It's not a person specifically. Yeah. It's the bureaucracy. And if you make an appeal and you don't know what to appeal, they're going to rubber stamp it as denied. a lot of the time.
Or if you don't catch their mistakes, like we happen to,
Yeah.
you know.
They're going to look at it and go, no, it's denied because, you know, whatever. It's like, no, you got to look at what you're appealing. You got to tell the VA, no, you denied it on faulty information. Now look at the correct. Now, should we have to do that? No. They should catch their own, but that's in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world. That's why we do what we do. And VSOs and accredited claims agents do what they do in a perfect world.
Yeah, and you know, and I know people are going to be quick to do the political thing with the VA, but this is happening. This happens with a lot of big national organizations.
Yeah.
We have one of our best colleagues who put her notice in with the people she worked with, the homeless program.
And she's so good at what she does. Yeah,
and
she's such a good person. She's got a good heart.
Oh, but she is by far the best person we've dealt with as far as sending in the appropriate paperwork, doing a thorough summary, like the whole. And she goes above and beyond for veterans that are not even her clients.
It's so sad that, and she's putting in her paperwork. She already has.
Yeah, it's April
31st. Yeah. So she put in her paperwork so it's a transfer now. At first it was to quit, to resign, and then she got a transfer out of the department she's in, which specifically helped us. But it's because she was burnt out by being stepped all over and passed over.
Yeah.
For what she did, and it's because she was effective at what she did, and her heart was so big that she just got burned out.
You know, she helped, and you and I do this a lot because you say we always wear multiple hats, but we do things inside the office that are beyond just the casework, like creating policies.
Yeah,
she did this. She with the supervisor role.
Yeah,
created a whole program that she would run, and then was basically passed over, and the job was listed for outside sourcing. And
that she created.
Yeah, it's
I mean, how frustrating is that? And she was like, okay, but you didn't give me a chance to run the job that I created.
Yeah,
you didn't even give me the opportunity for it. You outsourced it immediately. That's not right. And they were like, well, too bad. Like, that's how do you? It's unconscionable. Like, we can't name names, but you can imagine how bullshit that is.
And as frustrating as it is for us, because she makes things a little easier on us, the real frustration comes in the fact that a lot of veterans are gonna be tossed to the winds. And
that's the big frustration for us, because she was our go-to.
Yeah, and we were hers. And now she's got less than 2 weeks to scramble and set up a meeting with her subordinates with us to make a smoother transition for them and for the veterans. But it's just one of those things where it's like,
it's going to make it that much harder.
Yeah, just overall. A lot of these organizations, for some reason, the big ones, they let personality clashes get in the middle of what they have to do.
Yeah, and it's, they cut off their nose to spite their face, and in this case, they really did.
And, and the thing is, and we can criticize this, well, I can, because I've been the cause of multiple personality clashes in our organization, and I have screwed up on a lot of ways, but it's never gotten in the way of our doing the mission. That's always been fundamental to the whole board of directors.
Yeah, and we've made that clear. You've made that clear.
So,
since square one.
Yeah, and so it's not that it's impossible, but there does need to be some true leadership at some point to be like,
and accountability,
enough,
right?
Yeah.
And I think that accountability is, well, I mean, the cliche, right? Accountability is key. And when you don't have accountability from the upper echelons of these organizations, and everybody wants to pass the buck, you get issues like with this particular caseworker, well, she was a senior caseworker, saying, I've had enough and I'm leaving. And that trickle down is affecting us, which affects our veterans.
And the problem is like the individual responsible is a middle tier person. And so instead of the actual top management dealing with it in a productive way.
They're just brushing
They
it
don't
off.
want to lose either person type of thing. And, really what it comes down to is anybody who watches us who's been in the military has dealt with an E5 or E6 who is just about worthless, but also has dealt with, an E2, E3 who's been labeled as a shitbag, but knows their stuff and has, because of poor decisions, been busted down.
Yeah.
And that's what we seem to be seeing is we get people authoritative positions that aren't being true to what their position is.
Yeah.
And then you get people like her who is not even in a management position
Anymore.
doing so much above and beyond and willing to pull strings and, things like that.
But see, the thing is, she knows how to get things done, and she knows who to talk to, and she's got all these private contacts, but it just sucks. There's a saying in the military, look at that flag. What a fucking disgrace. We got to contact them.
I don't even know who it was.
I don't know, but on our way back, we got to
That's
contact them.
what we call a brain splinter, folks.
Yeah, brain splinter.
It was
we got to
ripped and
tattered.
across.
It's totally
terrible.
unserviceable to be flying. We've contacted multiple agencies before and replaced their flags.
And
supplied them.
New flags, yeah.
But there's a saying in the military called RIP, rank has its privileges, and this person who's getting her ousted has rank, and its privilege is he gets to keep his position and she don't.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating to see these things. One of the worst things, in my opinion, from our perspective, is this is coming on the heels of us doing this letter of accommodation and recommendation to her that we sent out to the top people in her organization
And the state.
to the senator and to the governor of the state. And
Now she's
that
leaving.
went out about a month ago.
Yeah.
And she still hasn't heard anything from the leadership of the organization.
I think
So
they
it's
read
like,
it and were like, oh, well, she's leaving anyway, so too late. Like,
It's
well,
just-
okay. But you know what makes me feel good about that situation? At least we know that we wrote that letter before we found out she was
absolutely,
leaving.
yeah.
And not like oh, by the way, since you're leaving, we're going to write this letter. You're great, but since you're leaving, oh, too bad. A lot of places, the Army I could speak to, when you're leaving, PCS and ETS, and they'll write you a certificate of appreciation saying, oh, you were here, you did a great job, thank you, bye-bye.
Yeah,
we
do a little pizza party
Yeah,
thing.
have a pizza. You did great. Nah, we did that really nice letter and certificate before we knew she was leaving.
Yeah,
because we did truly and do truly appreciate her and her efforts on behalf of our veterans.
And it's rare that we go out of our way, especially for organizational people.
Yes.
It's one thing when we get huge donations or whatnot, or we have young people who have gone above and beyond in their community service. We've done many of those, but this is
for a peer,
one of the first for a big organization.
Yeah, for one of our peers, it might be our first.
Yeah, and
because our attitude is you're doing your job. You're doing your job well and fantastically, but you're doing your job. But in this case, she did an exemplary job at it. So we wanted to, she actually made a quip one time. We said, yeah, you're doing a great job. She said, oh, tell my boss. So we looked at each other and said, we did.
And she had no idea until a week or two later. Yeah. And but it's just frustrating because we've seen this with VA social workers. They get tired of being screwed over. I mean, we see the casework fall down by the wayside because of these things. Even with the people that are reliable, their abilities are slipping. They're not able to keep up with the workload and the responsibilities. We see it on a regular basis.
Right. We do.
With people at the different organizations, and that's very frustrating that the money is there. The money is there. It's
just like you said, it's a personality clash, and it should not impact the job or the veterans. The
problem is
one way
it is
after the other.
A job for a lot of these people where we treat it as a mission, and we've done multiple videos on the difference for us.
Yeah, and she's not a veteran, is she?
No, she's not. And she's been doing this despite having cancer scares and
Yeah,
all kinds of
you're right.
other things.
You're right.
She's
Yeah.
driven 2 hours to come up and visit with us just to spend 10 or 15 minutes to, it's very frustrating to see that, those things happening. And
For a person who cares so deeply about the veterans. So as a patriot, this is her mission too.
I think
how hard does she have to be shot down to give it up, right?
And I think what I would suggest, anybody out there who is receiving services from the VA and you're dealing with somebody who is going above and beyond, please, put together a small email.
Oh yeah,
and send it.
What a great idea.
Because it's not something that comes across my mind a lot with the stuff personally we've dealt with, but now that we're in a leadership and organizational role, it's definitely something I'm like, we got to try and make sure that these people are being recognized for their hard work.
Yeah, recognize them, thank them, send a letter to their employer.
Yeah, whatever the
and them
leadership.
And say thank you. I appreciate you. It'll go a long way. It really will.
Yeah, it's tough, and we get little things here and there as well as. I think I got my first actual gift was a veteran we're working with for a comp and pen, and he put together a little wooden model of the CH-46, the Echo that I worked on.
The topper, yeah.
Which I could never find. And he did one for us, and it was really cool that he dropped that off, and it really meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I almost said his name, yeah. It was really cool. He came by to pick up some stuff for
a gift we did for him.
Yeah.
So
it's really cool to see the interaction between clients with us, and he dropped that off. So it's the thing that Chuck worked on was it's a helicopter. It's like a smaller, quicker, more nimble version of the military Chinook, the dual rotor helicopter. So he went out of his way to make it, put some stickers on it. So it was really cool. So like Chuck was saying, if you think of it and you're getting services from a VSO and a claims agent, the VA, the VFW, the disabled American vet, whoever, write a quick letter, a memo, send it to the organization, send it to the person helping you, say thank you, give them some praise, and it will go a long way. So
absolutely,
it will go a long way. It'll make them feel better, and you never know, it might save their job, and in so doing, help other veterans.
Indeed.